Well, do we need to lengthen this speech?
Are you gonna start over?
Yep.
Hi.
Alright.
What is that? Hey.
There is everybody. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about Hawaii. Hawaii is known as the Aloha State. It has beautiful swaying palm trees, sandy beaches, beautiful waters, and warm oceans. And it's known for surfing, snorkeling, swimming, if you don't want to get eaten. Personally, I'm not scared of getting eaten, but I'm not very scared of sharks. So it also has historical landmarks, very many attractions that people would love to come to, and basically a place that everybody wants to go to. But it is quite expensive, so not many people get to go, but maybe once in a lifetime. And there are many beautiful historical places in the United States, but Hawaii grabs my interest the most. And I believe if you spend the money and go to Hawaii, it would be very worth it. The history of Hawaii is made up of very many islands, most of which are very known. The capital is Honolulu, and it is on Oahu Island. And that is the same island that Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese. And according to Go Hawaii, Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, doing massive amounts of damage. And ultimately, that is what brought the United States into World War II. And then 4 years later, Japan surrendered on the USS battleship Missouri, which is pretty interesting since we do live in Missouri. And that still rests in Pearl Harbor to this day, and it's a very great place to see, historical piece. And all but one of us will be going there in 7 months, 8 months, something like that. In the times before, during, and after World War II, sugar and pineapple plantations fueled Hawaii's economy. And the populations were basically revolved around these plantations because that's how they brought in the money. The plantations fueled their schools, housing, food, basically how they lived. Not so much anymore, but it did back then. And according to Wikipedia, many of the plantations now are scenic landmarks that I would assume a lot of people would pay money to see, because that's kind of how Hawaii come about. It's how everybody knew about them and how they made their money. Massive volcanoes are on Hawaii, and that is probably the biggest landmarks that people know it by. And one of the biggest ones is Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and that is massive from what Wikipedia said. And then one of the more beautiful coasts is Napoli Coast. It is a beautiful ocean, has a beautiful view. You can see miles and miles and miles, and it's just mountains of green trees and beautiful oceans, blue waters. Typical Hawaii. And then they have huge mountains. One of them is called Mauna Kea. It is the largest mountain on the earth, which I got to thinking about. Kind of makes sense, because how would Hawaii not go underwater if it wasn't like one of the biggest mountains and have the biggest ones? It would go underwater eventually, you would think. And then it has Waimea Canyon, and it was made from volcanoes, and it is called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. And that was actually said by Mark Twain, which is kind of cool because he was from Missouri, known in Missouri as well. So apparently Hawaii has a lot of ties to Missouri. Hawaii also has a huge amount of beautiful green cliffs, waterfalls, rainforests, just about everywhere anyone would want to go on vacation. The attractions include surfing, swimming, snorkeling, and Hanuma Bay is a nature preserve, and it went down about the 1990s, but now it's come back. They re-preserved it. Not as many people can go to it, and for good reason, because they were just killing it. And then Diamond Head State Monument on the island of Oahu is the most famous landmark in Hawaii. which is kind of odd because I didn't even ever know about it. But you see a lot of pictures, and apparently that's one of the more popular ones. Then you have the Panea Rainforest Zoo, which is located on Big Island. It has many rainforest animals, endangered animals, and some of the best places to see animals in Hawaii. And according to Best Places Hawaii, the most loved animals there are the white Bengal tiger and the hilarious spider monkeys, which would be one of my favorites too. They're funny. And then you have Kalea National Wildlife Refuge on Kauai, and it's about 203 acres of protected land. And during the winter you can see humpback whales. Just about all year round you can see seals and dolphins, which is pretty cool. I've never seen a whale in real life, so that'd probably be pretty cool. So anyway, as you can tell, Hawaii is definitely a place many people want to go to. As I do too. I can't wait to go. It is expensive to go, but I believe it'd be well worth the money to go with your family, enjoy, see the historical sites. I think it'd be a very good place to go.